Hey, so welcome to my channel. This channel is about fussing and cussing and venting, okay? So there's that. Um, I'm insert fake name here. I'm a 38-year-old single black woman. I live in Michigan. Did you care? I don't know if you care. I'm obese. Do you care? I don't know if you care. The reason I'm telling you is because eventually it would become relevant and I just want to lay down the groundwork. Okay? All right. So when I was a wee lass, but about 24 years old, I said, the next job I get, I'm going to start documenting it because I'm going to release a book at one point in time called Leasing Your Soul for Rent. And that book is going to talk about why, when I was younger and babysitting, I should have made everybody pay me and set up a little fund to give myself some startup capital to really have my own business. I could do the stuff I'm doing for these other companies for myself in my own variety of ways, and I think I would just be much happier in life, and by extension, so would the people around me, because I wouldn't be venting to them all of the time. But alas, here we are. So, I started a new job a couple weeks ago. I've been on the clock with these people for about 12 days total, and I got to tell you from the bottom of my heart, please stop making me talk to people for a living. I mean, if I had prettier feet, I wouldn't even be in this predicament. I would just be painting my toes very deliberately and slowly on OnlyFans. Like, if I didn't have rectangular feet, this wouldn't even be my life. Anyway, so I first start the job. I do the paperwork. I go through a staffing agency, even though I won't technically be working for the staffing agency. That's my first time having that experience. I apply on Indeed through the staffing agency. They say, okay, hey, we need people to be ready to start in like 4 days. I'm like, bet it up. Because it's really the kind of job I'm looking for, but it starts soon, which means my paycheck starts soon, which means my debt goes away faster. Because when I get a new job, I do be on top of making them payments for when I was out there trying to get sane. And trying to get sane cost too much money, so I had to go back to being insane in a membrane. Anyway, why does this lady tell me an hour later? My bad. I just got news that it'll be starting a week later. And I say, all right. It's one already, 1 hour in. 1 hour in, here we go. All right. So then she said, we got to do these assessments. I do these assessments. I score well. I work in call centers and stuff for a long time. I should. Um, then I get my little documentation from them. They want you to do a drug test, all these things. I do it. I don't take no drugs. It's fine. Cool. Then they say, okay, you get this conditional offer for an amount that is less than this company can afford, and that is the cost of living. But like I say right now, I'm doing what I'm doing. Also, companies, you know the reason that the turnover is high is because when we accept jobs like this, it's because we are literally just trying to get a few checks in until we find somebody that calls us back with a respectable offer. You do know that, right? You do know I'm not giving away a young adult drinker's worth of experience for an unsavory wage and planning to be with you for a minute, don't you? You don't know that? Okay. All right. Anyway, so due to lemony snickets, something that needed to be on time that was very important was late, but okay, moving right along. Then we in a training class and they going over stuff, and you know how they do in training classes where another grown ass person reads you some shit that you could have read yourself, and they take a long ass time to do it, and they don't put no background music on or nothing. I can't listen to the instrumental for the roots, the next movement, or nothing while another grown ass person is reading me something. Mind you, there's not a sandbox or anything for me to walk through while you're doing this to keep me engaged or entertained. It's just a very nice voice, because the person has a very nice voice. They're very pleasant, oh so pleasant, reading to me. And I got hooked on phonics when I was like 6, so this is hardly necessary. I don't like it. Anyway, So you reading me, that's boring. And so we doing that. Then we have our little assessments and you ask little questions and there's all these little quizzes and everything. And then we finally get what we need to get started and we're doing that. And when you work from home, you basically need to be sort of your own IT. They can walk you through stuff, but they cannot imbue you with knowledge and technological prowess that you do not have. So more or less through the setup process, if there's any instructions or anything, you want to be on top of that. If you know how to use YouTube and ask it questions and get a demonstration, you want to be on top of that. IT at these jobs assumes user error anytime you call in. If it's not user error, they're genuinely shocked, but it doesn't make them any more pleasant depending on who they are. So it is what it is. So I hate being a user error chick. Like I worked IT for a couple companies. That's why you don't even have to be not IT. Let me not get to lying. Light technical support. Put the light on it. It's important. And no, people don't know the different names for computer, PC, tower, whatever. And yes, you do have to use specific terms to get people's recognition. And things are odd. So I'm like, when my stuff is not set up, I'm like, Jesus Christ, have mercy, Savior. Hey, this was happening. What's that? And they're like, okay, do this again, do this again. And I'm sitting up here like, this is hella disrespectful, but I understand why. Okay. And then he gives me a new login. For this particular instance, a new password. And he's like, okay, your passwords weren't synced. So it doesn't look like it was user error because I told him I hate to be the user error person. I hate that to the core of my bones. I ain't just trying to waste nobody's time. And so the next time I had to call IT, I'm like, okay, universe, you playing a joke on me? You trying to make me the user error chick? So this time it was the password is your initials and some other stuff, and I have 2 initials. A lot of people have 3. So my password was a character short. They gave me another password. Everything worked. Cool. So me being the helpful person that I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell my trainer. So if anybody else is experiencing a similar issue before they get locked out of their account, you could just try this first before you have them try it 3 times and get locked out. Anyway, if it was done, I wouldn't be talking about it. So, other little experiences. I've asked questions in training from my little baby trainers. And I say my little baby trainers, when you like damn near 40 and they give you a little somebody that's the age of my little sister, my nephew, and telling me what to do, I'm like, oh, baby, I don't mind the age difference. I know you think I do when I say baby trainer. One of my favorite team captains, supervisors in the history of my life was a baby trainer. She was so amazingly competent at her job. She was so good. I could just talk to her like she was a person because she was on her shit. You know how soft you got to talk to a person that ain't on their shit? But how regular you can talk to a person that is? My little baby trainer at one of my other jobs, I was like, hey, boo. I didn't say hey, boo. I might have. I liked her because she was on her shit. She was likable in general, but the fact that she was on her shit made me really like her. So anyway, so I'm like, hey, sweets, or hey, Samalama do malama. She like, lama lama, simalama, damalama, whatever the lyrics is, supersonic. And then we handle it, and it's beautiful. And then she like, well, I still got to talk to the team leader about it and act like this ain't all me, but you know how we do it. And I'm like, I know how you do it. So she was great, and she was a little baby trainer. It's not about the baby trainers. It's about how are you invested in your job. Some people kind of blasé about their job, but they still can be cold, just amazing at it. And she was like, I'm here. I'm not a cheerleader for this joint, but I do what I do, and I do it well. My little baby trainers now it's like, we don't do nothing with that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all. Our department doesn't do anything with it, but there is something to be done. So what is it? And on multiple occasions, I've been told, and blah, blah, blah. And I literally mean that deep ass sigh and just some old nonsensicalness. And I'm just like, Yeah, this is making a journal, my boo. This is doing it because I've been threatening to write a book, and I wrote it, to be honest. I'm like 5 chapters in, and I wasn't going to try to self-publish or anything because I'm super self-conscious. I grew up with all these standards. If you want to be a writer, you got to be Nikki Giovanni, you got to be Maya Angelou, you got to be the most, you got to be the best. You want to sing, you can't be random singer X, you have to be any of the women from Escape. And I'm like, damn, the standard. Like, listen, I like entertainers just as much as I like singers. Sometimes I want somebody where the beat is like the most, I want a whole experience. I want to watch the video channel. I don't just want to listen to the song. I just want to have a whole experience. Can I have a whole experience? It's like, no. You have to be the best thing that there ever was or sit down. Okay. So now I'm like, I went on acx.com via some recommendations on YouTube unrelated to the job training. I'm just going to let you know. And there was this one author that must support it, self-published 40 books in the better part of the last 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm finna read all her books. I'll find out if they good later, but I'm just like, the belief in yourself, the follow through to do that, because it's 7.8 however many billion people in the world, and I got an audience of 10,000 to help me quit my raggedy ass job somewhere out here. Lies. Anyway, so yeah. So this is kind of the journal that's supposed to go alongside with my personal, to me, long awaited book, Leasing My Soul for Rent, because I'm tired of doing it. I think it'd be so much better for my family and for my friends if I wasn't cussing and fussing and bitching about work every day and then trying to make it funny. But I'm not funny. I'm silly. I'm goofy, but funny, not so much. So, just to make the world a better place, offer more chat jobs. Don't outsource them all to other countries because you can pay people in other countries less. That's really messed up for those people in those other countries, and it's really messed up for us too, because it's people that you about to turn into a whole serial killer out here that's watching true crime stories and waiting to hear their story from somebody else that going, it was regular, they went to work, she was such a nice girl, he was such a nice boy. They meanwhile they grown, they about 40, but you're saying boy and girl because you're like, no, but they were just such a sweetheart. And these raggedy jobs mean it's a lot more going on in the world. It's deeper than this. It's not that deep, but it is, because snowflakes make an avalanche, pebbles make a rock slide. Like, you got to start off with the slow fuckery to get to the big shit, right? But anyway, let's woosah another day. Thank you for listening to this vent, because I know you feel it too. Because if I look up call center, it's going to say why I quit my call center job, and you should too. So I know you feel me. Deuces.